Time's up. Let's do this.
Hello, very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to BlizzCon Community Qualifier. This is BlizzCon Malaysia. Yes, it's correct. We have a series of Southeast Asian community qualifiers for BlizzCon, and this is how it's going to be done. Every single country in Southeast Asia that includes Malaysia, Philippines, Indonesia, Thailand, Singapore will have a specific country qualifier. And once we're done with this BlizzCon Community Qualifier, they'll be given a seat in the Americas region qualifier, in which they will officially qualify through that. And with that said, I am Babael. Joining me today is Katips. Man, how are you doing?
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Katips, and I am doing great. I'm excited to see some more Hearthstone from last week's Legend Tournament. That was pretty fun, so looking forward to see what Malaysia has to offer and see who are they sending to the BlizzCon Americas Qualifier as of today.
Yeah, exactly. So we have a game here that's going to begin real soon, and do note the format's very simple. We're going to do a Swiss round. So the Swiss round is going to have almost every single available participants here in this tournament for the qualifier to play off, and the top 8 will then go into the single elimination round. So for the first game here, we have Kyenn taking the bottom half of this board up against that of Bear.
Yep, and we are looking at a Control Warrior against what looks like to be a Zoo. So pretty common decks, pretty standard. You know, Zoo is kind of a staple of the meta right now, and Control Warrior's pretty good against everything. It's one of the more stable control decks. It hasn't changed a lot since its first from its earlier incarnations. It just changes up some of its legendaries. I see Lothab being played a lot more in the control decks. So yeah, but it's a standard thing. Lots of efficient removals, lots of cheap early minions before paving the way into the end game, where all of the legendaries start coming out and then start becoming too much of a problem for its opponents.
Yeah, exactly. So here we have Kyenn taking the bottom half of this board as the Control Warrior. Top half is going to be Bear on the Warlock. So this is pretty standard Zoo with the Ruben Egg as well. But this Control Warrior with Lothab, that is pretty exciting for me, because I've never really seen Control Warrior run Lothab. Probably, you know, not going to be really effective in his game against the Zoo, because 5 mana cost Soulfire. Come on, it's not going to happen.
That's right. And yeah, so we also want to point out that this tournament and the succeeding tournaments are not restricted in the form of cards, so they can use cards that came out with Naxxramas up until the Military Corridor, which came out this week. So we might expect to see some of the newer cards that came out this week. I mean, Web Spinner came out this week. Some of the other class cards came out this week. Resurrection Shaman is coming a bit more into style, but let's see if Bear has added any secret tech cards from the original Nax Zoo that came out in the first week with Arachnid Quarter.
Yep, exactly. So, we have Bear right now with almost a full board, and that's 4 cuts up there, really nicely weaponizing also the Nerubian Egg and popping the Nerubian inside. That's pretty good stuff. Gonna deal a little bit extra damage on the Warrior. Warrior now actually looks to be in a little bit of a bad state here. Now Lothab's not gonna save him this turn. The Azure Drake might give him a card draw, but what do you think should be played here?
Oh, well, he's definitely going to play Cruel Taskmaster. He can't let this board get out of control. So he's probably going to take out the 4/4 with a Cruel Taskmaster. He could go into an Execute combo, and then he can use his Harvest Golem to take out the Flame Imp just to get rid of a lot of the threats. And that leaves Bear with a 1/1. Oh, why doesn't he go for the 3/2?
Probably because of value trade there, I feel. It's still okay. The real issue here is that Bear is slowly running out of steam, and wasting the execute from Kyenn's point of view on the Nerubian is really not good, because you really want to just use execute on stuff like a 5/7. But there you can see Shadow Sun Cleric really spoiling the game here for Kyenn. So man, the 2/1 damage bot now is really not gonna provide much of a difference. But oh, he tops deck the Defender of Argos, so that's
very nice.
Gonna provide some value
very
there.
Nice top deck that's gonna put up a bit of defense against Bear, who has the board control at the moment, but is lacking in the in the hand department. So let's see if he decides to play his Argent Commander to see if he can clear out the board of Bear, who is now going to be forced to tap every turn to start getting back of his card advantage. And Kyenn now has the defenses with the Defender of Argus to put up some sort of defense. Let's see if it can hold out until the end of the game and run Bear out of steam.
pretty good Dark Iron Dwarf there. The DID is going to provide 2 extra damage on the Haunted Creeper, so the Creeper is going to get popped. So Fire going to be used as well, and that's going to burn the Harvest Golem. A little bit wasted, but still okay. So now we're looking at 14 health here for Kyenn. No game for big game. Do you think you should just play it?
Yeah, he could just play it raw and then put armor up. Okay, so he's just gonna go armor up both of his minions and start going for the face. He doesn't have enough to take out the Dark Iron Dwarf at the moment. So he has a decent defense. Bear can easily get past this, I think, without too much stress if he draws into the right cards. Let's see what he comes up with. So okay, Knife Juggler. He's just gonna empty out his hand. It looks like. Yeah, he's gonna Power Overwhelming because the Haunted Creeper, of course, gives 2/1/1 Spectral Spiders, and he's gonna clear the defenders on the side of Kyenn and still controlling the board.
Oh god.
Oh man.
Yeah, the Knife Jug, man. So much value for that. Now, Slam here. If you want to get value off Slam, you definitely need to Slam into something that can absorb the damage without dying. I am more towards slamming just to kill the minion, and that's what exactly he's gonna do as well. Gonna run the 2/2 to pick up the 4/1 and slam into the Knife Jug. So for Bear now top decks a let me see what else does he get. It's a little bit slow on Bear's side, so he gets a Abusive Sergeant, so he can effectively try and pick off this Drake with the Abusive Sergeant by life taps first, gets the Doom Guard, that's fantastic, Abusive Sergeant into one of the small little Spectral Spiders there, and playing the Doom Guard for a perfect 5 mana there. It's gonna be pretty good value for him.
Is fantastic for Bear. What an amazing Doom Guard draw. So this is exactly what Zoo wants. He wants to empty his hand and draw into the Doom Guard at the time when he has no hand, so he doesn't get any drawback from the Doom Guard. And now he's in a great position. That's a 5/7. That's pretty deadly on the side of Bear. And Kyenn forced to play Lotheb and forced to play a weaker minion. Let's see if Bear what did Bear just draw into?
Bear now draws in the Defender Argus, so that effectively is going to be 9 damage. He's still one of lethal. Even if he life taps into a Soulfire, a lower tap's going to make sure it's a 5 mana cost. But he doesn't really care. He gets Voidwalker anyway. So he deals 9 damage. Does he want to trade here? Nope, he definitely wants to go for face. And Zoo, being the absolute ridiculous nonsense that it is on the board, there's nothing Kyenn could probably do here. There is, however, the Black Knight in the hand for Kyenn. What do you think he's going to chop?
Well, he's definitely gonna have to take out the 6/8 just to make sure. Well, I don't think he's gonna survive either way. He doesn't have any defenses, and one of these minions are just gonna go through. He can still kill the 3/2.
He can always armor up, so he will survive this turn.
Yep. But then this is also of course in Zeus' favor. He can just draw something that could ping Kyenn quite easily.
And Bear, what does he get? He gets a Doom Guard. That's a huge draw for Bear.
Wow. So it's gonna be one of those days where where Zoo is just gonna draw into the perfect top deck, both Doom Guards in the perfect time with no hand on the side of the Zoolock. And that is just such tempo that you cannot deal with if you are on the back foot, if you're up against the ropes, just like Kyenn was. So let's see what he chooses next to deal with this Zoo. So he's gonna be forced to change into another class now that his warrior's been defeated. So he has an option for going into one of his other classes. Let's see what he picks. So he could, I don't think the viewers can see what we're seeing right now, but
yeah,
his options are a little, I'm not so sure.
Yeah, okay, the thing here is, I have no idea why Kyenn started out with the Warrior. I thought he'd be bringing something a little bit different, but Lothab and Warrior, he also, by the way, both players know what classes both the opponents have brought into this tournament, so he probably was expecting something like a Shaman, and that explains Lothab, but, really not much synergy there, I feel.
Yep. And right now, it's in this meta, you really have to expect somebody opening with Zoo or mid-range Hunter or mid-range Shaman even. It's a little risky to open up with Control and opening yourself up to something that's a little bit faster and something you can't keep up with. So we saw it right there where the Control Warrior just got too overwhelmed. Even if we flipped the board a couple of times, the top decks from Bear was just too much for him. So let's see what it decides to go with. So
Yeah, Kyenn now still checking out, the opponent's classes, and he will see that it's Druid, Shaman, Warlock. So he knows that if he does win this next game, he's gonna have to face either against a Druid or a Shaman. I really, really don't like the Control Warrior opener. I thought that was a little bit, thinking a little bit too deep. He would have done a lot better with something that, just like Zoo, just throw out something that is, you can say, dispensable.
yep. So Zoo is a little bit more consistent. It doesn't have very many weaknesses unless you go into a really bad draw or something specifically with tech to defeat it. So I would have liked to see him open up with Zoo. I mean, the Zoo mirror is a little chaotic, but it could get the job done. But now he is using Shaman up against potentially Zoo again from Bear. But Bear, of course, has the option to change even as the winner. So let's see what he comes up with.
Yep, so here we go into the second game between Bear and Kyenn. Bear now, one game up against Kyenn. Kyenn is going to roll with his Shaman. Do you have any insights as to what kind of Shaman this is, seeing how you might have picked into his naming conventions there?
Well, he just drew into the new tech that Shaman is running this week. That's the Reincarnate combo. So there's a lot of funky stuff you can do with Reincarnate and Ancestral Spirit, where your minions, like earlier we saw that he mulliganed to Earth Elementals. So how that's going to work is you start doing some shenanigans with Reincarnate and Ancestral Spirit so that when you draw into Baron Rivenair, it triggers it twice. So when they come back, there's two of them. So actually this week there was a feature in some of the Hearthstone websites where a guy managed to pull out 6 Leroys in a single turn using some of these shenanigans. So let's see. So Bear is deciding to stick with Zoo, and Kyenn, I think his smart play would be to start putting up some defense in the form of the Feral Spirits, and then just be patiently biding his time until he can draw into his proper combo and start setting up his taunters that never end because of the Reincarnate and the Ancestral Spirit. And of course, he needs his key tech card, which is Baron Rivendare, to start mass producing his Earth Elementals, basically.
Yeah, that's good. So what's happening here is that we are now looking at a little bit of a good defense from Kyenn's side. I really like the Reincarnate. The card itself is just so much of excitement. And there we go. We have the Earth Elemental here. It's only 5 mana cost, so he can effectively play that next turn. But the real combo is playing Earth Elemental with Reincarnate, and that's going to be a turn 7 play for Kyenn. The Rock Batter here is gonna be pretty hard to swallow because, yeah, you just want to save Rock Batter for something else, not the Clear Knife Jug.
Yep, so this type of deck is actually pretty good against Zoo because once you get the combo going, so he'll have Earth Elemental on turn 5. Zoo not having very many removals unless they run Owls or some sort of tech to stop a lot of taunters, but generally they don't really run, they generally have a problem with too many taunts. So if Kyenn can just hold out a little bit more and put up a defense in the form of the Earth Elemental into Ancestral Healing, into Reincarnate, he could start putting up a defense that is insurmountable by any sort of Zoo offense. So let's see what he decides to play. He's now unlocked. His mana is free, has been freed from its debt, so he's fully paid, and let's see what he decides to play.
I would definitely want to see him play the Earth Elemental this turn because there's just so much synergy he can do next turn. But he's a little afraid of the mana overload. He's gonna play Lower Thap here. Lower Thap effectively against Zoo isn't really much of a tech card. A little bit more towards the 5/5 presence on the field there. So here comes the Elven Archer, and wow, great answer. Elven Archer DID there, as well as the Dark End Dwarf, sorry, and that's gonna provide 4+1 damage. That's 5. Here comes Lightning Storm for Kyenn.
Oh, that's a bit of a gamble. So he has a 1 in 4 chance to draw into the Spell Totem, into Lightning Storm to get maximum value. But even then, it's not guaranteed. That's a 3 to 4 curve. He might not get the top curve for the Lightning Storm. So he may be considering putting up some sort of taunt right now. I mean, Senjin might be safe. Dark Iron Dwarf won't be able to trade with it. And if he puts... let's see...
I definitely put the Senjin here. If you play Earth Elemental, it is just gonna die.
Yeah, I agree. So I think, well, he's at 18 health. It's a little bit tricky right now. Bear still has 3 cards in hand and the ability to draw another extra card every turn with his hero power. Getting overloaded right now, I agree, might be putting him too much at a disadvantage in the coming turns, and this tempo might just get ruined. So I think Senjin, does he want to draw at 18 health but 9 damage on the board? That's a little risky.
Yeah, well,
So,
again, here, you just don't really have a good play. Azure Drake is going to be good enough for him, I think, and he gets another Earth Elemental, so that at least is going to make sure he can discard one Earth Elemental effectively.
yeah. So, as we can see, this card is kind of like an end game shaman. It's not so much a mid range. You really want to set up your combo of reincarnating your earth elementals, but because of the overload, it becomes a bit of a problem until you get to the later turns. So against a deck that's pretty fast in the early turns like Zoo, it's a little bit tough to deal with. I mean, if you don't put up any defenses like not being able to put up a Senjin at the right time or not being able to put out the earth elemental at the right time, and your Zoo just having full control of the board, it's a little bit difficult. So he draws into a card that he cannot use at the moment, and he has to make a decision now with 13 health left.
Yeah, so here we have Senjin Shoemaster. I think here you really just want to play the Earth Elemental. That's going to provide at least 8 extra health. That's one way to look at it. 8 extra health to the Shaman.
That's right. And he can play with even with this overload, he can play his second Earth Elemental next turn, even if he's locked with 3 mana. So.
Oh, but there's 2 Doomguard in the hand for Bear, so.
Oh man, Bear drawing into the Doomguard again.
He life taps. Defender of Argus. Wow, that's gonna be so much more value as well.
He could have positioned Bear's minions could have been positioned a little bit better if he could have put the Harvest Golem beside the Dark Iron Dwarf. He would have gotten more value out of his Defender of Argus. So it's not optimal. I mean, he can still put Defender of Argus between the Spider and the Harvest Golem, but it's not ideal. Oh,
wow.
man.
Okay, Doomguard discards Doomguard, so there's only one Doomguard in this game here. But okay, Doomguard's also gonna die. He does have the coin for Bear, which is a little bit of sad news because there's nothing else that's gonna need the coin from now on. The Earth Elemental is definitely gonna die, but here's what's really gonna crush the Zoo. There is another Earth Elemental that's gonna come out this same turn here.
That's exactly right. So as I said, with Bear running out of 2 of his endgame finishers, all Kyenn has to do now is put up a defense and then get a bit of value and then start bringing his taunters into play. If he can get his combo of Earth Elemental and Reincarnate into play, it's going to be really, really good for him, and Bear has no way to bust through it anymore. He's played both of his Dark Iron Dwarves, he's played both of his Doom Guards, and he hasn't used his Soulfire, but that's not going to help him a lot with the 8 health of the Earth Elemental.
Yeah, definitely. So now we're looking at Bear here with Power Overwhelming and a Knife Jug. So Power Overwhelming, yes, it's going to provide substantial damage because of the 3-5, and he's also going to deal 6 damage again. I feel like, okay, Kyenn, the main reason why I didn't want to play Earth Elemental is because he want to play Reincarnate with the Earth Elemental this next turn. But can he survive the throws? Yes, he can. Down to 1 health here. Oh, sir, you're playing so dangerously.
Ooh, I think he has to Earth Elemental into Lightning Storm right now, and just pray that Bear doesn't draw into a Soulfire. He's been pretty lucky so far. So that leaves him with a 4/1 Dark Iron Dwarf. Let's see if he's definitely gonna want to tap and try and get that Soulfire just to finish this. Because if this gets out of control, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Argent Squire into something else. Let's see. Voidwalker. Yep, there's nothing else. Bear's hand's a little bit slow, but it's still pretty fine here. So 7/4 still alive. Reincarnate can be used here to pick forth 2 7/8s.
I was thinking about Injured Blade Master. I guess it works well with Ancestral Healing. Okay, so now he's put up his combo. His 7/8 is now again restored to health, full health, and taunt again. So Bear's challenge now is to try to draw into a Soulfire just to be able to end this game. He doesn't have many cards left. That looks like maybe 15 or 16 cards left. So there is a chance that he might be able to get the Soulfire still. But at the moment, it is Kyenn's game to lose. He has to be able to.
He gets Ancestral Healing. And definitely, I don't know.
I want to see Sylvanas into Ancestral Healing would be pretty cool.
Yeah, but the thing here is that Kyenn's just down to 1 health, and that's very, very dangerous for him.
Maybe he can go Healing Totem, try and get for Healing Totem, and then Fire Elemental to take out some of the threats, maybe?
Yeah,
get
probably.
rid of the 2/1 at least.
Yeah, probably. I think that's pretty okay.
I mean, these are all low attack minions, so if he puts out Healing Totem, it's gonna pay it back for him.
You're right,
Wow,
you're
let's
right.
see.
Definitely play the totem here and ancestral healing. Would want to see
Stone
him heal
Claw-
up to 4-3 though.
Yeah, Stone Claw or Healing Totem would be pretty nice right about now. Okay, so he chooses to attack and bring back the 7/5 to full health. Okay, so Healing Totem, pretty good.
Oh. Might be a Soulfire. We don't know. He's drawing 2 cards in 1 turn. If he doesn't get a Soulfire, then Kyenn's
dead.
Yeah, he's dead. So it's either a Soulfire or no Soulfire. He gets the Ruben Egg and calls concede.
Okay, so his top deck from the last game has not brought him luck in this game. So Kyenn takes it with a Frost Claw. I forgot what that card was. He gets a golden card for his efforts at a level 58 Shaman. So he is gonna he's gonna stick with his Shaman deck right now. Let's see what. So Bear is reduced to Druid and Shaman. So lots of variations in Druid right now. I see all of the versions being played. Token is pretty popular. Ramp Druid is still very popular, especially now with the new legendaries and the use of a lot of the Naxxramas cards. Loatheb in particular. In the Token Druid, you see a lot of the Nerubian eggs and the Haunted Creepers. There are some variations of Watcher still around, especially with the 2/8 Tonner, the Death Lord from Military Quarter. That's become a nice defense against early game Zoo. So yeah, let's see what he chooses to play with.
Yeah, it could
Shaman
be the
versus
same Shaman again.
Shaman versus Shaman is messy, but I would love to see a Resurrection deck versus a Resurrection deck.
Yeah, it would be pretty exciting to see that. Would want to see Bear Riverdale in a Shaman deck, but I haven't really had the chance to see that kind of a deck in a competitive game just yet.
Yep. So they are down into. Oh, sorry. It's a 1-all. Is it a best of 3 or a best of 5 that we're playing?
BO3.
BO3. So this is match point for each player. Yep. So we're gonna see Shaman versus Shaman. So we might just get our wish.
Yeah, pretty exciting here. Might be a little bit messy, like you said, but it's gonna be up to the deck and the cards that this player is gonna get from both sides here. So we do see a Hex, Fire Elemental, and an Argent Squire for Kyenn. And on the flip side, Bear is just doing his mulligan. He gets also a Hex, double Fire Elemental, and he throws away both Fire Elemental there, and will get a Flame Tongue Totem, Earthshock, Haunted Creeper, and a Hex.
Yep. So that's a nice curve for Bear. Kyenn's probably is thinking about keeping Hex. Hex not that useful in the early game against a mid-range Shaman. You generally want to save that for the later threats like maybe Regoros or the Earth Elementals maybe, or the Fire Elementals of course. So he's thinking about keeping that Hex.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Very carefully, yeah.
Definitely want to keep the Hex there. Hex is pretty good in this kind of a matchup, but we'll see what's gonna happen right now. So we have Argent Squire coming out, the girlfriend. That's the girlfriend.
Girlfriend of the Paladin token, coming in with her Divine Shield. So let's see what Bear chooses to play. He has the coin. He has the option to go into Haunted Creeper right away.
Yeah,
and
that's
looks
exactly
like
what
he's
he's
gonna
gonna
do
do.
just that. Yep.
He's going into Haunted Creeper, and he does have a pretty good play next turn as well. That's the Flame Tongue Totem, so I'm thinking that he might be considering for that. But of course, needs to be a little bit more careful because Kyenn has the Hex as well as the Rock Biter.
Yep. So he chooses not to play Flame Tongue Totem this turn, and chooses to pop the bubble of the Argent Squire. But here comes another one right now for Kyenn. Probably gonna play into another Argent Squire into a Totem again. If he gets lucky, he might get Stone Claw just to have additional defense. He's gonna get Healing Totem instead. Chooses to pop the Fire Totem and play his next Argent Squire. So pretty standard curve right now for Kyenn. His turn 4 play he can go, of course, into the Dark Iron Dwarf. And for Bear, he does have the option to go into Flame Tongue Totem. But let's see if he chooses to play something else first.
Yeah, I actually kind of like the Flame Tongue Totem here. But like I've said before, the Hex, the Rock Biter weapon, those are instant counters against the Flame Tongue because of the health that he has. So
That's right.
might want to be a little bit careful with that, but he doesn't really have any other alternative play. He's actually going to power up his Haunted Creeper, and that's going to kill just the Spell Totem. And
So taking out the Spell Totem is always a great idea versus Shaman. You generally don't want to leave that on the board when you have a lot of spells in the favor of Shaman, especially its sweepers from Lightning Storm, its Earth Shock, anything. There's so many value spells that Shaman has. It has the most efficient removals in the game. And if you leave a Spell Totem alive with a Blood Mage Thalnos or an Azure Drake, that's really generally a bad idea. It's going to go badly for you.
yeah, it might just not look good at all here. So we have the 1/1 there. And Bear here has the turn. He does have sufficient cards in hand. I'll say Elocare as well as the Lightning Storm, Pharaoh Spirit. Pretty good answers here. But back to Kyenn with the Lightning Bolt draw.
I think Bear, that's an interesting card. Gnomish Engineer is not a common card you see very often. I think he was banking on the fact that Flametongue Totem might have survived and given him a 4/4 instead of a 2/4. So let's see. So he got a card out of that one.
Yeah, okay, the Drake here is going to draw Fire Elemental. Now, the thing here is that even if he has the Drake, he will not have sufficient for Lightning Bolt because of the mana that he doesn't have. And now back to Bear. Bear has pretty good answers here. He's got almost everything you can ever ask for. The Earth Shock, Pharaoh Spirit, Lightning Storm. And he gets, nope, it's not a Spell Totem. So that's a little bit sad news there for him. A little running out of NG, I feel.
Yeah. So for both players, they both have to keep in mind, playing against a Shaman each, they generally don't want to overextend with the minions because Lightning Storm is, of course, a never-present threat, and both running Azure Drakes and possibly a Blood Mage Thalnos could be very, very bad in a mirror match. So they both have to carefully evaluate whether they want to put additional minions on the board, if they want to draw into an additional totem, just because the value you get out of a Lightning Storm is tremendous if you're able to play it.
Yeah, exactly. Here, so we are now looking at Fire Elemental. That's going to be able to pick off the Pharaoh Spirit, and one of them at least. The other one's probably going to die to, I would say, the 4/4.
If he had one more mana, he could have Rockbiter the Healing Totem and taken care of the other 2/3, but he does not have the option right now. I think his best bet is to take it out with a 4/4 and the 4/3 taking out the Stoneclaw Totem, which will give him enough chance to remove the Haunted Creeper with
He actually
Arctic
opts
Squire.
to protect the Azure Drake here, and will make the Dark Eindorf take a little bit extra damage, which is fine because I was just expecting, Dark Eindorf to get a little bit extra heal from the Healing Totem. I thought that might be a little bit of a good play, but it's pretty obvious that Kyenn's playing around Lightning Storm here.
Yep. And yeah, so that was a big decision for Kyenn to make, to put down Earth Elemental because it might get hit by Lightning Storm. So, but I think it was necessary to clear out that board. That's a pretty big defense. So Bear down to 4 mana because of his overload. Will he choose to play Lightning Storm now? That's a lot of damage on the board. That's 6, 10, 14, 15 damage on the board with potential threats in the hand of Kyenn in the form of Rockbiter weapon, and he also has Dark Iron Dwarf to activate. So it's still pretty even, 27, 28 health. So Bear choosing to put up a defense right now, taking out the Healing Totem instead of the 2/2. That's a pretty interesting decision.
Yeah.
Not too sure I agree with that. Healing Totem isn't really going to give him much value, but a 4/2 is a big threat.
Yeah, it is a pretty big threat there. So, I don't know, man. He can effectively play Flametongue Totem here for Kyenn.
Yep.
And that's going to provide some form of extra damage kind of a burst, but I think he really wants to roll the Lightning Storm for Bear. That's why he decides to kill the Healing Totem, and it's kind of clear to Kyenn that big AoE is going to come in real soon to clear the board.
Yep. So Kyenn smartly
Gets
choosing
the healing again.
I don't think I want to play anything right now because targeting the healing totem earlier meant that he was setting up for a Lightning Storm.
Yeah.
So Kyenn has to recognize that was the strategy being made. Choosing to leave his 4/2 alive because he knows that he's going to take it out with Lightning Storm. So this would be a very bad decision to play, but he chooses to do it anyway. So it looks like he might just clear the board of Kyenn and deal his damage. That's 12 damage on the board for Bear. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
here's where you deal the damage. Oh, he plays
no.
the Harvest Golem as well. Wow.
well,
Okay, that's not really doomsday scenario. We're now looking at a Zoo Drake in the hand here for Bear as well as Lightning Storm. He does only have got 7 mana, so does he top totem the spell totem? No, he doesn't get it. Still, just a 1/1. The Lightning Storm on top roll will be able to kill a total of 4 or 5 minions there.
Yep.
Respawning the
still
damage golem
has-
as well.
And he still does have the 2 spectral tigers to take the spectral spiders to take out whatever is left. Chooses
Oh,
to hex, but that doesn't leave him enough mana to lightning storm.
Yep, so no Lightning Storm this turn. We're now looking at Earthshock, the Silence, the Flame Tongue. Wow, this is actually pretty dangerous here for Bear because Bear doesn't really have real answers. And here comes Lightning Storm for Kyenn. But does he really stomp 2/1/1? You really want to stomp 2 tokens? Not my play. So here comes the extra damage from Dark End Dwarf.
This
Is that
is
gonna be
lethal.
game? Yep, it is. Big mistake there by Bear. Should have just Lightning Storm.
Yeah.
What do you
so
think?
There was a couple of misplays on both sides. Noticeably, Bear should have taken, I think, a bit more taken away the dwarf because that's what killed him in the end, of course. And Kyenn also should have recognized that Lightning Storm was a threat with the move that Bear made to kill the healing totem to be able to stop the 4/2 from healing up and with a bigger chance of getting a top roll. So had Bear drawn into the spell totem, he might have had a bigger chance and cleared out the entire board of Kyenn, but unfortunately that didn't work out for him.
Yep, so with that said, we're going to be back with the next series in just about a total of 20 minutes thereabouts, seeing how we have every single round within 45 minutes of each one, so it's pretty good. Anyway, this is Babael, joining me is Katips. Hope you guys enjoyed the cast here, and all the best to both of these players in the BlizzCon Community Qualifier for Malaysia.